Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's Real Talk with ZSJ. As I've mentioned in previous episodes, this platform is to have conversations, have real talk, uncensored, right? And talk about things that relates to the African American experience here in the United States. So we include all kinds of topics. And tonight, I get to welcome someone that is a really good friend of mine and someone that I trust, someone that I love, and who I know because I am a very critical person of people who out here talking about their healers and all this other stuff and their energy ain't right. And one of the things that I can say about this sister is she's tried and true, right? She has been tested. She don't even know. Like I've tested her, and she's the real deal. She is authentic, and I love her. And when it comes to this issue of African spirituality and healing, honestly, like real healing that we need to do, this sister is amazing. So I am gonna welcome my sister friend Ruth Jeannoel. I hope I said the name right.
Yes.
Um, Please introduce yourself to the audience and tell us a little bit about you.
Okay. Oh, I'm so glad that I made it. I'm so proud of you, sis. Um, Black love to you and your whole family. And to everybody watching, my name is Ruth Jeannoel Ifakemi. And I am, how would I say this? How do I describe myself with you and your folks and my folks too? I would start with I am a Black mother, Black first generation woman, uh, first generation immigrant woman. My family is Haitian. We're from Haiti. And I would say by way of West Africa, Nigeria. I think land and ancestry is always important to just name at the beginning of like who I am, because it's not just me, it's like the we and the millions and millions of people that I stand on the shoulders of. And I'm a freedom fighter. I believe in Black liberation. That's actually how we met, right? Like I believe in organizing. I believe in shifting culture. And it kind of took me being an organizer to get to where I am now, where I could say, okay, healing and healing justice is not because I'm out here trying to like heal the world. And if that comes, sure, why not, right? Because I believe in it. But at the end of the day, I'm healing myself. And as I'm healing myself, if along the way I'm inspiring others to heal, then so be it, right? And so that is a little bit about me. I have I have two Black girls that I'm raising who take up a lot of my time, along with my king, my career. And it's just a beautiful ride to be able to be alive, to be able to make it through all of the things that we've gone through, and then to be here with you today. I am,
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm just really delighted and happy to be here.
Absolutely. For everybody that's watching, make sure you hit the like. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. And I want you to share this video because this discussion is going to be really rich. There's so much out there that people are talking about, right? Our sister is Haitian, and we're looking at what's happening in Haiti right now and some of the resistance that's happening there, and there's always we're always like inundated with like bad news, right? And Black folks, right? We know we're constantly under surveillance, under assault, all of these different things. And one of the things that I love about you, Ruth, is that you seem to always stay so centered, right? Like I know, like nobody's perfect and all of that, but I love the way that you still stay centered in everything that's happening. And one of the things that I appreciate about you is that the work that you do specifically with women, specifically, empowering us, not in a way that we are opposed to our kings or anything like that, because both you and I are married to amazing Black men. And and I think that's what has drawn me the most to you in the way that you do the work. Because I have been in spaces that, they're supposed to be healing, but we're in our Eurocentric framework sometimes, and we're perpetuating harm.
Mhm.
And what inspired you, if you would tell the audience, like, because you and I both came out of organizing, and I remember when you told me, like, I'm transitioning and I'm starting my own organization and I'm going to be doing this. I was so happy for you. Can you talk a little bit about that transformation process?
Yeah, oh my gosh, it's true. I feel like that's when we like first started to like kick it. And so for everybody watching, I'm an organizer at heart. Zakia and I, we met through education justice organizing. At the time, I was director organizing at the Power Youth Center for Social Change down in Miami. And Zakia was with Racial Justice Now. And then we met through like DSC,
It's
Dignity and
Dignity in Schools. Yeah.
And I remember you and you had Asada. Asada was like a baby, like literally like maybe fresh. She was like fresh.
Yeah, she's a little baby. She was 2 weeks old when we met.
Oh, wow. Yeah, she was like brand new to the world. And I was like, look at this mama. I was like, I remember like seeing you and be like, oh, like a new mom, like that always kind of like opens up my spirit, because organizing is just really challenging, like it's really hard. It's really it's blood, sweat, and tears, and we're dealing with like a nonprofit industrial. We're trying to fight for liberation within a nonprofit industrial complex, right? It's like already there's like a contradiction. But I remember being at Power U, and my organizing started with youth organizing, and it has always been. And then I went into different forms of organizing, but it has always been around ending the school to prison pipeline, ending criminalization for Black folks, Black immigrants, Black youth, all Black people, right? And at the time, I was doing school to prison pipeline work, and we were trying to push for the campaign of restorative justice in the school district. And that had been like a 10-year long campaign. Nobody believed the school to prison pipeline was real until Trayvon Martin passed away. And then Obama started to talk about it, and Power U and Dream Defenders, like we literally took over the state capitol and was like, if Trayvon Martin wasn't suspended from the first place, would he had been in Sanford, right? And so that really kind of like continued the drive, right, of like pushing for restorative justice, peacekeeping, trying to find an alternative to incarceration, trying to find an alternative to students being pushed out of school. And as a parent, I was like, wow, like this is something I could for sure use. So it was important, and it still is really important, because at the bottom of it is like, if someone were to say, well, what's restorative justice? I would say, getting to the root of the cause of the problem, trying to repair the harm instead of putting it into a punitive system, right? And I was doing that for a long time, like protests, rallies, and then Black Lives Matter was like really rising. And literally I would find myself with two small young children working like 13, 14, 15-hour days, like consecutively, like my own children, like falling behind in school. And so many things were like happening that I was like, dang, like this is like really tough, and at the same time, it was like after I had Jada, my second daughter, I developed a pulmonary embolism. The first time I was pregnant, I had a C-section. So it felt like each time I was pregnant, each time I was giving birth, like something dramatic was happening. But after I had Jada, I had the pulmonary embolism, and it was dramatic because it was like literally in my chest, and I spent like weeks in the hospital, and I could hear something come to me being like, you can't do this. You're gonna survive this, but you got to do this another way. And so at the time I was like reflecting, and I was like, dang, like, what do I need to do? I need to do something different. I needed to fight for Black liberation in a different way, because I wasn't going to martyr myself. This isn't about martyring. This is truly about like finding ways to be centered, to take care of myself. So that way I could be present and alive to take care of my children and to build a family with my husband and to be able to raise my children, not just my children, but the community children, right? And so that's really where my work started, as far as being like, you know what? I need to shift. And that's when I started to transition. I experienced different things too around that time, because we were like pushing, even the Black Girls Matter coalition down here was like pushing, doing coalition building. All this stuff was like growing, right? But then I started getting dreams, and then my ancestors was coming, and then I'd be like in the ocean catching babies and strollers. And I was like, what is a stroller doing in the middle of the ocean? But they were just sending me messages, like it was just like messages being sent. And at the time I didn't really understand it, but now I understand it. And at that time I thought I was gonna go to become a midwife. I thought I was gonna I actually started midwifery school and going into becoming a birth assistant. And then that time my ancestors was like, Pop, actually we got something else for you. And that's literally where and how my transformation kind of like started. I would say was like a shift. I think it started before that, but I would say like that was like a shift of like, oh yeah, you're definitely doing this.
Yeah, I remember that when you were doing doula work with moms and stuff, and I've seen a lot more of that become mainstream instead of the Western take the Pitocin. I had Pitocin when I had my son, but that has contributed to, as you know, maternal mortality and even infant mortality. And so now we're going back to more of our indigenous ways of giving birth and taking care of the women and taking care of the babies. And all of that work is still so important. I love what you're doing now. I follow your organization. I want people to know, how they can, find out more, about your work. And I want to share this story with everyone. I actually flew to Miami for my 38th birthday. And you and I had the most amazing time. And I came by myself, like I didn't have my family. I just wanted to celebrate. And I knew that I was also going through a transformation at that time. And I was led like to come and actually be with you and your family. And we had such a great time. And that was my first time experiencing the spirituality piece, right? The knowing that there are, ancestors who are watching over us and all of that. And I just want, you to share a little bit more about that piece, African spirituality, and how that helps in real healing justice where, because I know there's a lot of us. The reason why I'm having this conversation, I probably should have started off by framing it that way, is because I know it's so needed right now. Yeah. I have seen our people, right, Black people. I'm in the DC region, and the homelessness, right, the loss of hope, like the financial and economic fallout from this COVID, lockdowns and all of those different things, and people losing loved ones to, this pandemic and everything. And so I felt the need to like really have this conversation with our people, right, to let them know that there is some support, right, and there is some tools that people can use where you're not necessarily going to like a Western therapist and then they want to give you a diagnosis and give you some medicine and all of that. Like there's other ways that we can participate in healing ourselves and healing our body, and would just love for you to share some offerings on that.
Yeah, Ashe. Yeah, and it's beautiful too, because after I transitioned out of organizing, I started FanmSaj, and my ancestors literally led me and was like, this is actually going to be the way that you do this. And FanmSaj is a nonprofit. It's a 501c3. We're based in Miami. And what we'll say is FanmSaj, it means midwife in Haitian Creole. So what we'll say is midwives catch babies, and FanmSaj, we catch communities. And so all of those things that you're talking about with folks losing their jobs, losing their housing, losing their minds, right? Having an imbalance of mind, body, and spirit, and all of the different elements that it takes to be a supported human being and spiritual being. This is like what we catch, right? Understanding that Black folks have gone through not just like the traumas and the work that we're dealing with now, but like intergenerational traumas, generational trauma from white supremacy, right? From racism and from the transatlantic slave trade. And so we're talking like our mission is literally to be able to provide cultural, spiritual, even political and social tools to folks across the African diaspora so that they can be able to take care of themselves, them families and their communities. And so how we do that, and I know you participated in one of these, but how we do that is one, we do our sacred healing circles every month to be able to, oh, look at you, you're going on the website. This is so cool. To be able to practice literally healing in a real time, because sometimes people are scared. It's like taboo to practice healing for some, right? Anything that's spiritual, people always trying to like take it away. And so for us, it's like one of those things that's so important for us to practice healing. And so we have our sacred healing circles. Even we just launched the Healing Justice Fund because we're like, okay, people can't say, oh, I can't afford it. You know, like if we live in Miami, the people who have access to healing are white folks and Cuban people. Black folks, if you want to do something, it's like an arm and a leg, and people may not be able to afford it. So we're literally raising money to be able to practice healing, like whether it's Reiki, vaginal steaming, womb Reiki, herbalism, like whatever that is, we're like literally connecting our folks to be able to practice those things, right? And I see as you're going through the website, I could I'm like I could talk about the website too, but if you go on the cultural strategy section there, I think what I'm gonna do now is maybe do a show and tell with our Sacred Ori affirmation card deck. So the Sacred Ori affirmation card deck is a tool that we have, just like that. People have card decks, right? People have created card decks, whether they're oracle or tarot. We were like, you know what? This isn't really about religion for us. You know, it's not even, it's about spirituality in the basic sense of spirituality, that every single human being who is breathing is a spirit. And so how do we take care of our spirit? How do we take care of our mind, our body, and our spirit? And so we created the Sacred Ori affirmation card deck. And the Ori is a Yoruba language. It means inner head. And so we partnered with Four Together last year, Mama's Day in May 2020, to be able to launch a card deck, to be able to shift the narrative of how we talk about Black women, how Black women practice healing. We had a whole like event, a whole launch party. That's myself, and Gina is one of the key designers, Sage Satori, one of the key designers with the Sacred Ori affirmation card deck. And it was beautiful, you know? And so I think what I want to do now, if it's okay with you, Zakia, is maybe to actually practice it, right? Like to practice something real simple and basic, like with the affirmation card deck.
Let's do it.
Okay. So you wanna pull yourself up so I can see
Yep.
you?
Yep. We can go right back. Yep.
Okay. So this is the card deck. And of course, these are available on our website, FanmSaj.org. It comes with a booklet. And so I've already shuffled them, but I'll just kind of like reshuffle them. And I'll ask you to engage in this with me.
Yes.
So you'll just put your feet flat on the ground.
Okay. I've got it.
Okay. And we'll just center and just kind of like putting our shoulders back. No matter what it is that we've gone through or holding for today, we're just going to take a deep breath and release it. And exhale it out. And taking another deep breath in and and exhaling it out. So what I like to do is cleanse them. I cleanse them with my breath, or some people use sage or crystal selenite. So I'm going to pull it, and then I'm going to read from the booklet, and then there's an affirmation that comes with it, and we'll practice that together. Ashe. Awesome. So the card that I pulled is the commitment card, and it's the number 9, and it is it says we keep each other safe, nonconformists, goddesses, and sisters. So it's like 3 women holding like flowers, even like just standing in warrior stance, right? And knowing and understanding that like we keep each other safe is like building that commitment for each other. So this is the card. So I'm going to read the affirmation, and then when the practice comes, I'll give you instructions. And then for those who are watching, just keep breathing. All right, so commitment. Number 9, wisdom talks, set your own trap. Oftentimes, you may feel stuck in the path that you're on. You may feel like something is holding you back, or that all hope is lost. The truth is that if you don't create a path for yourself, others will do it for you. You may not have control over everything around you, but start by setting your own traps. Choose one goal or 2 for this week and identify a couple of things that you need to do to reach your goals. Ashe. So then now you hold your ori. Again, this is your inner head. This is Yoruba and in Isheshe tradition, Yoruba culture. Your ori is the most important in anything. Like you may even have children, your children have their own ori. You have to be able to take care of your own ori to be able to survive this world. And one way to take care of your ori is to be able to affirm your ori, right? To be able to talk positively to your ori and to be able to like be gentle with your ori. So then you say the affirmation. We'll say the affirmation. I'll say it and you'll repeat after me.
All right.
Right? Ori,
Ori.
help me.
Couldn't hear the second part. Sorry.
Okay. Ori,
Ori.
help me set new traps
Help me set new traps
and goals for myself
and goals for myself
to clearly experience
to clearly experience
all the things,
all the things,
people,
people,
and opportunities
and opportunities
that help me
that help me
stay on track
stay on track
with my own life path.
with my own life path.
Ashe,
Ashe.
ashe,
Thank you.
ashe.
Yes,
So for
Ashe.
you, and then for me, and for everybody watching, right, we could say that maybe there's something that you need to like be committed to, maybe there's somebody or something that we need to like kind of like re-engage in, right? And like, for example, when we say commitment, it also means discipline, right? And so this is very simple way of practicing spirituality. Is like, what is it that we have to be able to take our life back? We have to be able to take our destiny back, because one thing that white supremacy does is that it tries to literally like diminish or like minimize our destinies. And so with African spirituality specifically is like, you're here to make a boom in the world. African people are here to make a boom in the world. We got to wake up. We got to recognize ourselves. We got to remember who we are and whose we are, and that we're not alone in this fight. We're never alone in this fight. And so that is the Sacred Ori affirmation card deck. So we'll keep that.
Absolutely, and this is amazing, and I really I believe people are enjoying this. How can people get some of these cards? Are they available for purchase on your website?
Yes, they're available. they would just go to our website, and then if you go to more, and then you go to shop, you'll see they come with the sacred or reaffirmation card deck. And then I also do coaching with them. Let's say somebody's like, oh, I don't know how to use the cards, or I need some other like support. We do individual coaching, and then we also do like organizational coaching with the cards as well. And it's been beautiful to see how people are utilizing the cards. Like life coaches are using the cards, organizers, activists, midwives, doulas, um, like so many people like are using the cards in so many beautiful ways that I'm just thankful that we've been able to launch something, produce something for folks to be able to like care for themselves and take care of themselves and affirm themselves.
This is all amazing, and I'm showing everybody like just how beautiful your site is,
Oh,
and
thank
just and I want to make sure people also recognize the Healing Justice Fund, and
you.
to make sure that people are signing up to support that as well, because it's definitely it's going to a good cause, and it's going to what I would say non-traditional ways of healing, right? Like having the Reiki sessions and restorative just like that's really intense work. It's in the yoni steaming, like we have to be able to support the people who are doing this work, this very important work. So I want people to make sure that they go to the website and check out everything. And if you want to book a session, you should be able to do that as well and buy the cards.
Shay. That's
Absolutely.
awesome. Thank you, sis.
Absolutely. This is amazing. Just very proud of you. Um, I'm thinking about this now because youth leadership is here as well. And I'm thinking about like everything that's happening with young people and, like you said, being in quarantine. Is there anything you can share, particularly if parents are watching who are dealing with young people who are having, like, just like I miss my friends, I miss my peer group, we just have to stay in the house and things. We haven't been in school, all of those different things. And some tools here I see. It's called Quarantine and Heal. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So this is so interesting because I was just talking to one of our members about
Yeah.
today, literally last year around this time. And I remember because my birthday is March 21st. And I remember being ready to celebrate my birthday and being like, oh, we're going to do, it was going to be spring break. We're going to do a restorative justice circle keeping training, right? Because that's another tool that we have. We're going to do a circle keeping training. And then next thing you know, we started getting all this news from like China and everything on CNN, Fox News. All the news was like, oh, this thing, COVID-19. We don't know what it is yet, but something's going to happen and everyone's going to have to be in quarantine. It felt like a movie. You remember, watching those movies where like
Yeah.
people have to
Yeah.
stay home and not go outside and they got to like sneak out or whatever. So it felt like a movie. And at that time we were planning to do a circle keeping training, and then we couldn't. Literally everything was shut down, stores were shut down, offices were shut down. We were in the like as an organization, we were like, dang, like what do we do? And so we were able to like talk to some of the youth that we were already in community with, and talk to some of our partners, and we started the Quarantine and Heal. And so quarantine and heal is literally because we had to quarantine and heal ourselves because we had no idea what was going on, right? And so we had to learn how to like what kind of medicines we needed to be able to nurture our bodies. Youth learned. So it was like it's a 4-week Quarantine and Heal is a 4-week healing, justice, and wellness um, program that we had to launch. And what we did is that we connected youth with political education with healing and wellness strategies. And so the reason why we did the political education is because COVID-19 is another collective trauma that communities have to face, right? Just like slavery. It's definitely not at the like extent and max of like what slavery was,
I
but
know what you mean. Yeah.
COVID-19 is like a collective trauma that like even if somebody didn't lose a job or lose somebody, you knew somebody that did. So it impacts a large community of people. And so in that time, what we were hearing was like youth were saying that they were feeling isolated, that they were at home, they didn't want to be around their family, like they didn't want to be around younger siblings, like they were like, it was like a new way of being, you know. And so when we started quarantining here, we literally started teaching youth the same things that we adults was learning, like breathing, like deep meditation, right? Breathing, yoga stretches to be able to deal with anxiety. Some of these youth started saying that they were feeling like they were going into depression and suicide. And so those languages are very, like very serious. Like when young people start saying those words, we can't just like ignore it, right? Of course, there are different tools. We could say, okay, you could go to a mental health counselor, or you could go to a psychiatrist, but sometimes we know what happens when they got to go there, right? Like they literally have to be able to like fight for themselves when they're there. And so we were teaching them like herbs that they can use, right? Different concoctions that they can put together with like ginger and turmeric and like honey to be able to say, even if they feel like a little bit of a cough, they could be like, okay, let me take some medicine to like take care of myself, you know? So it was beautiful. And we're actually launching that again this upcoming next month, actually, this upcoming season, because it's still necessary and it's still very much needed.
Absolutely, is absolutely needed, and I'm really proud that you have something specifically for young people, because there's a lot happening with our young people. Unfortunately, I read a story out of Denver, somewhere in Colorado. It was actually in the New York Times. Um, I'm sorry, it was Vegas actually, where had been so many youth suicides, and the isolation. You know, connecting people. Like we like to be able to hug our people. We like to be able to be in community and all of that. And just there's just devastating consequences to a lot of the response, with the pandemic. And so I'm happy that there is some healing justice out there to help people, and like you said, to take care of themselves. I definitely know it's been a long day for both of us, and I wanted to provide you an opportunity to share anything else that you'd like the audience to know. I definitely want people to come and visit your website and peruse the website and find ways in which they can support, but also maybe even become a subscriber or a monthly supporter in signing up for coaching sessions. So I definitely want people to do that as well. But wanted to give you an opportunity to share anything else that you hadn't already had an opportunity to share with the audience.
Yeah. So I think when I think about healing, justice, and then when I think about wellness and taking care of our families, like we have to remember that we have a responsibility as much as like people will tell us that we don't. We have a responsibility to take care of ourselves and the community. Like there's no separation in that, you know. And some people throw out the language around self-care or community care, you know, but that we have the language to do that. So we have to be able to, in a way, in a lot of ways, like we have to be able to connect with people, be gentle with ourselves, and be gentle with each other, because we never know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like we never know what people are going through, what it is that they're facing. Like when we think about the like African spirituality, we're also thinking about, like, in order for the Haitian Revolution to have happened, it took African spirituality for us to have the Haitian Revolution that impacted the whole Black Belt of the South, right? And more, right? Across the Caribbean islands, right? And so for me and for us, like it's just important to always like ground ourselves that like we're never alone, reminding each other that we're never alone, and that a simple breath, a simple ear to listen, a simple just being present with ourselves can go a long way. It can go a long way. And so for FanmSaj, for folks who want to be able to support, you can always donate to FanmSaj. You could say, oh, like we have a PayPal, we have on the website. Even if you can't attend the event, you could even just like purchase a ticket. Like Women's History Month is, we have the theme of pussy prayers. We're reading the book Pussy Prayers.
Oh,
And
you know, you got to tell me more about that. I saw that on the website. I was like, oh, what's that about?
I know anytime I talk to somebody about it, they're like,
I hadn't
oh,
heard of the book. I hadn't heard of it.
yeah, it's really good. Not to like advertise for them, but really like it's really it's really, really good. And they have, and the reason why we're reading it is because um, our womb in our body is really sacred. You know, like it's not about gender, but like the female body, like the womb is really sacred.
Yes.
But because of white supremacy again, right, and patriarchy and how it rolls, it's like made it seem like the especially the black woman is like the underdog of everything. When really, if we could put the black woman and center the black woman, like we would be able to answer a lot of questions. Everybody as a whole, right? But yeah, so she has like, they have like different rituals that's in here of like how to take care of our womb, of our um vagina, and be able to like tend to our temple, because there's a lot of trauma that's there, and how to be comfortable with saying the language and the words too, you know. And so each thing that we're doing this month, we're going to be doing yoga this month, um we're doing Reiki. All of it is just centered around the womb because it's Women's History Month. So even the painting we're doing, like painting is going to be like painting for like the divine womb, right? And I think that's the event that you came to. It was like a painting circle that we were doing. So yeah, so that's what we're doing.
I still have my picture. It's hung up in my office upstairs.
Oh,
And we did. Yeah, that was an amazing birthday gift. Amazing.
I'm glad that you liked it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I have to figure out if I can carve out some time in my busy schedule. That's the other thing. Is like everything is so busy. Like even for us as parents, I remember you and I were talking earlier about like the virtual school and like making sure we get our kids together. Then I work from home, so then I have to get ready for work, and it's just like, woo, it's a
Yeah.
lot, you know.
Yeah, it's true. It's like
Yeah.
one of the things that parenting itself is godly, you know, motherhood itself is
Yes.
godly. All of it is spiritual, you know, like the way that we communicate, even though our actions, all of those things are spiritual, you know. We just have to relearn the African way, you know, like that we have to like relearn it. We have a lot of unlearning to do, so that way we can learn the African way and learn African culture. It may start with language, it may start with clothes, it may start however it starts for somebody. Learn it, to be able to know, okay, as we move through the world, that we're not alone and that we're not by ourselves, and that your ancestors will always be with you and shout you out.
Absolutely. This has been amazing, Ruth, and I believe that our listeners has certainly got a lot out of this, and I'm just grateful for you. I'm grateful that that transition happened for you because you've certainly been a blessing to me, and I'm sure so many other people. So thank you for sharing your wisdom. Sharing how you're healing, not just yourself, but your entire community, and how it literally um, links back to our own roots. That's what I love about it. You have
Ashe.
really gone back, to the roots. And it's also like, as the Americanized Blacks, we have been conditioned to shun African spirituality, right?
Mm,
So many of us have, and I'm just grateful that I know you, and I'm grateful that I'm on this journey with you. So,
Ashe. Me too. I'm grateful that we could be in this together, because there's not a lot of Black women raising Black children who are like conscious enough to say, okay, like that we're going to fight for liberation, but be like grounded in spirituality. You know,
right,
like some spiritual people are like, actually, I'm just going to focus on the spiritual aspect, and y'all community, you could do what you want to do, you know?
exactly. Yeah.
But we are making a choice, and in a lot of ways, it's not us making the choice. It's literally our own Ori, our destiny, and our ancestors that are like, this is what you're here to do.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. This is what you're here to do. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We definitely will have to have you back, at some point in the future. But this has been probably, in my opinion, one of the best broadcasts that I've done. I think that is really meaningful, not just for me, but for the listeners. And obviously, this is recorded. People can always go back and watch it, and make sure you visit FanmSaj's website and find ways to get some healing and also find ways to support.
Ashe. Ashe.
Yeah, Ashe. Thank you, Ruth.
Well,
We're going to wrap up this conversation.
ashe.
And I will see you all next week, same Thursday at 8 p.m. with Real Talk with ZSJ. Thanks so much, everybody. See you next week.